The elevator doors slid open on the 47th floor, and there he was, Nathan Hale, the golden boy turned tech titan, barking orders into his phone like he owned the goddamn world. I froze, coffee spilling over my knuckles, because in that split second, his eyes locked on mine, and the past I'd buried under 6 years of therapy and bad decisions clawed its way back up my throat. "Caleb," he said, voice low and laced with something sharper than surprise, recognition, raw and unforgiving, like he'd been waiting for this collision all along. I bolted from the interview lobby the second the HR drone dismissed me, heart slamming against my ribs like it wanted out. But the job offer email hit my inbox before I hit the subway stairs. "Welcome to Hale Dynamics. Report Monday. Trapped." By a man who knew exactly how I'd shattered and how he'd helped me do it. Rain slicked the streets of Manhattan as I trudged home to my shoebox in Brooklyn, the kind of place where the walls whispered regrets if you listened too hard. 6 years ago, in the sticky heat of a Georgia summer, Nathan and I had been everything. Stolen kisses behind the bleachers, promises etched in notebook margins, the kind of love that made high school hell feel like heaven. Until it didn't. Until his family's Bible-thumping empire and my own screaming silence turned us into ghosts haunting each other. I'd run north, reinvented myself as Caleb Reyes, entry-level code monkey with a fake smile and a resume scrubbed clean. But Nathan, he'd skyrocketed, Stanford dropout turned Silicon Valley wunderkind, now CEO of Hale Dynamics, the AI startup devouring the market like it was personal. Monday morning, I suited up in my one good blazer, the thrift store gray that screamed harmless ambition, and stepped into the glass tower like a lamb to slaughter. The lobby hummed with the efficient buzz of ambition. Interns in Lululemon, execs in Tom Ford, all orbiting the Hale gravitational pull. My badge scanned me onto the dev floor, a warren of open-plan desks and holographic screens flickering with code. "Reyes? Over here," called a voice, Jenna, my team lead, all pixie cut and perpetual Red Bull veins. She thrust a tablet at me. "Nathan's pushing for the neural net overhaul by Q2. Dive in, or drown." I nodded, fingers flying over keys, burying myself in algorithms like they could firewall the inevitable. Hours blurred, coffee runs, bug hunts, the rhythmic clack of keyboards like a digital heartbeat. By lunch, I'd almost convinced myself it was fine. Almost. Until the all-hands pinged, executive walkthrough. All hands on deck. Panic clawed up my spine as footsteps echoed from the hall. Nathan entered like a storm front, flanked by suits who nodded like bobbleheads. Tall still, broader now, with that same tousled dark hair and jawline that could cut glass. His eyes swept the room, professional predator scan, and landed on me. Paused. The air thickened, charged like the moment before thunder. "Team," he said, voice smooth as aged bourbon. "This is why we win. Innovation isn't optional. It's oxygen." Applause rippled, but his gaze pinned me, a silent hook in my gut. When it broke, I exhaled shards. The afternoon dragged, my code fracturing under shaky hands. Jenna noticed. "You good, newbie? Look like you saw a ghost." "Something like that," I muttered, forcing a grin. "Old allergy to power ties." She laughed, but it stuck. Ghosts don't haunt alone. By 6 p.m., the floor emptied, leaving me to debug in the fluorescent hush. Footsteps again. Not plural this time. I didn't look up until his shadow fell across my screen. "Caleb," Just my name, but it landed like a gut punch. Up close, he smelled like cedar and ambition, the cologne I'd once stolen spritzes from his gym bag. Nathan, I kept typing, pixels blurring. Mr. Hale, congrats on the empire. He leaned against my desk, arms crossed, that half-smile I'd once kissed off his face. Empire's a strong word. More like a fortress. You always were the dramatic one. Heat flooded my cheeks. Anger, shame, the toxic cocktail of memory. What do you want? Performance review already. His laugh was low, genuine for a flicker, then shuddered. To talk. After hours. My office. 8 sharp. It wasn't a request. I nodded, hating how my pulse betrayed me. His corner suite was a shrine to excess. Floor-to-ceiling windows framing the glittering sprawl of Midtown. Leather chairs that probably cost my rent. A bar cart stocked with whiskeys older than our mistakes. He poured 2 glasses without asking, neat, like he remembered I hated ice clinking judgment. To old ghosts, he toasted, clinking before I could refuse. I sipped, fire blooming down my throat. Cut the poetry, Nate. Why me? You could have blackballed my ass from the applicant pool. His eyes darkened, storm clouds rolling in. Because I saw your portfolio. Quantum entanglement sims, brilliant. And because, he trailed off, swirling his glass. I owed you a shot. After everything, the word cracked between us, heavy with the unsaid. The night we came out to his parents, his father's fist through the drywall, the whispered faggots that echoed for months. The way he'd chosen silence over solidarity, letting me take the brunt while he fled to boarding school early. The betrayal that tasted like bile even now. You left, I said finally, voice steady by miracle. Packed your shit and vanished. Left me to the wolves. He winced, real pain etching lines around his mouth. I was 17, Kel. Scared shitless. Dad threatened to disown me, cut off college, the works. I thought, if I went, stayed low, I could build something. Come back for you. But you didn't. The accusation hung, sharp as shattered glass. I tried. Letters you never answered. That shitty motel in Atlanta. I burned them. I'd hoarded every one, creased and tear-stained in a box under my bed. What now? Pity higher? Noble redemption arc. No. He stepped closer, heat radiating. A second chance. For the code. For us. The word ignited something feral, a spark I'd long doused in one-night stands and whiskey chasers. His hand brushed mine, electric, forbidden. I yanked back, chair scraping. You're my boss, Nathan. This is HR nightmare fuel. Then quit, challenge in his eyes, the boy I loved peeking through the mogul mask. Or stay. Fight for it. I didn't quit. God help me, I stayed. Weeks bled into a rhythm that felt dangerously like normalcy. Mornings in the dev pit, afternoons in cross-team sinks where Nathan's presence was a gravitational anomaly, drawing me in, repelling with equal force. We'd steal moments, a brushed knee under conference tables, coded glances across war rooms, emails laced with double meanings only we decoded. Fix the latency on thread 7, he'd write, but the subtext screamed, miss you tonight. I'd reply with patches, my heart patching its own leaks. But normalcy was a lie. Whispers slithered through the vents, rumors of Nathan's type. The parade of twinks through his penthouse, vetted by NDAs and ghosted by dawn. I wasn't blind. I'd stalked his Insta in weak moments, the filtered perfection masking the hollow. Yet jealousy gnawed, irrational and vicious, because what right did I have? He was the CEO, untouchable Olympus. I was the intern-adjacent grunt, clawing for purchase. Jenna clocked it first. Over takeout burritos in the break room, her eyes narrowed like laser sights. Spill, Reyes. You've been mooning over Hale like a bad rom-com extra. What's the tea? I choked on rice, coughing guac. Mooning? Nah. Just intense work vibe. Bullshit. She leaned in, conspiratorial. I saw that elevator stare down day one. Old flames? Or fresh kindling? Ancient history, I muttered, but her grin said she smelled smoke. Jenna was ally-coded, rainbow lanyard, stories of her wife's proposal at Pride, but trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. Not when one slip could torch my career, or worse, reopen the scar tissue around my heart. That night, Nathan texted rooftop bar. 9. Wear the blue shirt. The one from our first date, pilfered from his closet in a haze of post-sex bliss. I wore it, buttoned to hide the tattoos I'd inked over our initials. Reminders turned regrets. The rooftop was a velvet rope fever dream. Fairy lights strung like constellations, craft cocktails in coupes that cost a paycheck. Nathan waited in a corner booth, sleeves rolled to forearms veined like rivers I once mapped with lips. You came. Curiosity killed the coder. I slid in, knees brushing his under the table. A spark, deliberate. We talked shop first. Safe terrain. The neural net's edge over competitors. His vision for AI ethics in a cutthroat market. But liquor loosened tongues, and soon we veered Georgia ghosts, the football games we'd skipped for backseat explorations. The mixtape I'd made him that he'd claimed got lost in the move. Lies. All of it, but they wove a fragile bridge. You're different, he said, thumb tracing my knuckle, hidden by the booth shadow. Stronger. The ink. Battle scars. I pulled away, but not far. You? Still running from Dad's shadow. His jaw tightened, the mogul cracking. He's proud now. Turned it around, son. As if queerness was a phase to outgrow. Bitterness soured his laugh. But you fought. Alone. Not alone. The words slipped. Vulnerable. I had echoes of you. Kept me going. Silence. Thick as the humid night. Then his hand cupped my jaw. Thumb on my pulse point. Let me make it right, Kel. Dinner. Real one. My place. Saturday. It was a line crossed, neon lit and irreversible. I nodded, drowning in the yes before my brain could veto. Saturday arrived like a verdict. His penthouse atop the tower was minimalist menace. White walls swallowing light, abstract art screaming money, a view that made Brooklyn feel like a distant memory. He cooked, seared scallops, risotto creamy as sin, wearing an apron over jeans that hugged like sin itself. We ate on the balcony, city lights winking complicity, wine flowing freer than confessions. Tell me everything, he urged, refilling my glass. The years I missed, so I did. The community college grind, The scholarship to NYU that felt like escape velocity. The hookups that hollowed me out. The therapist who unpacked the abandonment like a bomb squad. You were my first love, Nate. The blueprint. Every guy after, just echoes, fading fast. His eyes glistened. Tears? Whiskey? I fucked up. Saw your face in every boardroom mirror, haunting me. Built this empire to prove I wasn't broken. But without you, he reached across, fingers interlacing. It's hollow, the kiss ignited slow, then feral, lips crashing like waves on forgotten shores. Hands roamed, mapping changes, my leaner frame from night runs, his broader shoulders from gym pennants. We tumbled inside, clothes shedding like old skins, bodies remembering rhythms long rusted. In his bed, king-sized and silk-sheeted, we reclaimed lost time, whispers of mine against sweat-slick skin, gasps that echoed our teenage urgency but deepened with adult ache. After, tangled in sheets, his head on my chest, he murmured, "Stay. Not just tonight." For real, I traced his spine, heart a war drum. Boss employee. Scandal waiting. Fuck the scandal. Defiance in his voice. The boy reborn. We deserve this. We did. For a while. The affair bloomed in shadows, a secret garden of stolen hours and encrypted texts. Mornings after became routine. I'd slip from his penthouse before dawn, badge scanning into the tower like a double agent. Workdays were exquisite torture. His office door ajar for consults that dissolved into locked door trysts, quick and desperate, ties loosened like nooses. Evenings, we'd venture out incognito, dive bars in the village where no one knew his face, hands linked under tables, laughing over craft IPAs like the world wasn't watching. But the world always watches. Whispers amplified, Jenna's side-eye sharpening. A junior dev snide Hale's pet project muttered in the kitchenette. I brushed it off, high on the delusion of invincibility. Nathan, too, grew bolder, a hand on my low back during all hands, possessive and proud. Let them talk, he'd growl post-meeting, pinning me against the copier. You're mine, mine. The word anchored me, a lifeline in the churn. For the first time since Georgia, I felt seen not as the queer kid dodging slurs, but as Caleb coder, lover, survivor. We dreamed big, a joint patent on the neural net, weekends in the Hamptons once the launch cleared. Build a life, he'd say, fingers in my hair. No more running, then the cracks spiderwebbed. It started with a board meeting leak, internal memos surfacing on Glassdoor, painting Hale Dynamics as a toxic bro-culture den. Nathan's mood soured, calls with lawyers stretching into nights that left him hollow-eyed and whiskey sour. PR nightmare, he'd mutter, pacing his office while I massaged knots from his shoulders. Dad's calling, preaching fire and brimstone. Like this is my fault for not manning up sooner. I held him through it, the vulnerability cracking his armor. You're more than their empire, Nate. You're you, but doubt seated. Late one night, scrolling his phone while he showered, innocent curiosity, I swore. I found the folder, contingencies, screenshots of my background check, deep dive dossier from a PI firm. My juvie record, shoplifting bread at 15, expunged but exhumed. Therapy notes leaked from a hack. Even photos from that Atlanta motel where I'd crashed post-breakup, looking feral and broken. The timestamp, 2 weeks before my interview. Betrayal hit like ice water. He knew everything before he hired me. Not chance. Not fate. Calculation. I confronted him at dawn, folder open on his kitchen island like evidence in a trial. This your idea of a second chance? Stalking my skeletons? He froze, towel mid-scrub, eyes wide with the deer-in-headlights guilt I'd last seen at 17. Cal, wait, no, voice steel, though my chest caved. You dug this up. Used it. What? Leverage? To keep me close. Under your thumb. It's not. He reached, desperate. Protection. Vetting threats. In this business, enemies everywhere. I needed to know you were safe. Safe. Laughter bitter. Choking. You mean controllable. The kid who ran, now tethered by dirt. He deflated, shoulders slumping. I was scared. Of losing you again. Of what they'd do if they found out about us. Us. The pronoun mocked now. Or your dirty little secret? We shattered that morning. Words like shrapnel, accusations flying. I stormed out, badge burning a hole in my pocket. The elevator descent a freefall mirroring my gut. Back in Brooklyn, I ghosted, deleted threads, blocked numbers, drowned in freelance gigs and cheap gin. Jenna texted concern. I fed her half-truths about creative differences. The office grapevine buzzed. My abrupt leave, chalked to burnout, but Nathan's silence screamed loudest. 2 weeks in purgatory, and the hammer dropped. A 4 a.m. call from an unknown. Mr. Reyes, Channel 5 News. Care to comment on your relationship with Nathan Hale? Sources say it's more than professional. Heart stop. How? The leak, our leak weaponized. By noon, headlines screamed, Tech mogul's gay affair rocks Silicon Alley. Intern alleges coercion. My face, pixelated but unmistakable, splashed beside his, the dossier twisted into blackmail narrative. Anonymous tips, they claimed, from concerned insiders. I knew the source, his father. Old Man Hale, Bible in one hand, Rolodex in the other, purging the family name like original sin. Nathan's voicemails piled. Frantic, fractured. Cal, it's a setup. Fight with me. Please, fight. As if I hadn't bled enough. The climax crested in his lobby, security parting like Red Sea for the prodigal storm. He waited by the elevators, disheveled in a hoodie that swallowed him whole, vulnerable, the mogul stripped bare. You came, not for you, even to myself. For me. To end this. His office was a war zone. Papers strewn, screens dark, a half-empty Scotch bottle sentinel. We faced off across the desk, the city indifferent below. Dad, he spat first, voice wrecked. He found out. Hired the PI years ago, sat on it. Used the leak to force my hand. Step down, reform, or watch the stock crater. And me, throat tight. Collateral, the queer scapegoat. No, he rounded the desk, eyes pleading. Bait. To draw you back. He knew I'd crack without you. Crack. The word undid me, memories of his sobs in that Georgia attic, promising forever before dawn broke the spell. Why didn't you tell me? From the start. Fear. Simple. Shattering. Same as always. But this time, I choose you. over empire, over blood. He dropped to his knees then, not submission, but supplication, hands gripping mine like prayer. I love you, Caleb. Always have. The past is chains I forged. Break them with me. Tears blurred him, salt and cedar blurring lines. I hauled him up, foreheads pressing, breaths sinking in ragged harmony. This destroys us both. The board, the press. Then we burn it down, defiance reborn, fire in his veins. Together, we kissed through the ashes fierce, forgiving, a vow sealed in scandal's forge. Calls came, lawyers, spin doctors, his father's venomous ultimatum. We ignored them, barricaded in his suite, plotting counterstrike. Leaks of our own, the real dossier, exposing Hale Senior's hypocrisy. Donations to conversion camps masked as charity. The board fractured, allies emerging from shadows, queer execs, fed up VCs tired of the closet. But victory tasted bittersweet. Protests erupted outside the tower. Pickets with signs, love wins, even in the C-suite. Clashing with counterchants from evangelist fringes his father mobilized. One night, as we watched from the balcony, bottles shattering below like brittle bones, Nathan tensed. This is my fault. Dragged you into the fire. I pulled him close, chin on his shoulder. Our fire. And we'd burn again. The siege lasted months. A media maelstrom that turned our love into tabloid fodder, our bedroom into a bunker. Paparazzi camped the lobby, drones buzzing the penthouse like mechanical vultures. Nathan's board ousted his father's proxies in a bloodless coup, but the stock dipped 20%, investors fleeing like rats from authenticity's plague. Queer CEO crisis, the Wall Street Journal sneered, burying ethics under earnings calls. We fought back, raw and unfiltered. A joint op-ed in The Atlantic, AI and Authenticity. Why Love Powers Innovation, went viral, racking millions of shares. Nathan spoke at Tech Pride, voice steady on stage, hand in mine off mic. I hid for years. No more. This company, this life, it's ours, unapologetic. Cheers thundered, but backstage, he trembled, the weight of worlds on his shoulders. For me, the toll carved deeper. Sleepless nights scripting defenses, days fielding hate mail, slurs scrawled in glitter-bombed envelopes, voicemails hissing freak like exorcism rites. Jenna rallied the team, a rainbow barricade of support, potlucks with queer icons, codathons funding LGBTQ plus startups. You're legends, she'd say, hugging fierce. But legends bleed. The betrayal's second wave hit via email, anonymized, laced with venom. Attached, grainy photos from Georgia, us tangled in his truck bed, timestamps damning. Sender, family first, Nathan's sister, Eliza the golden child, married to a pastor, who'd ghosted him post-scandal. End it, the note read. Or these go public. Think of the kids. Kids. Nathan had none, but the threat twisted, exposing our youth, painting us as predators in prepubescence. He crumpled, face ashen. She's bluffing. Has to be, but doubt festered. We argued in whispers, the penthouse echoing with accusations reborn. You should have cut ties years ago, I snapped, pacing like a caged wolf. This family's poison, always was. And you think I chose it? He hurled back, voice cracking. I built walls to keep them out. But blood. It seeps. The climax fractured us anew that stormy Friday. Board vote loomed. Nathan's fate as CEO hinging on a diversity audit we championed. Ironic sword over our necks. Eliza's photos leaked anyway. Timed like a guillotine. Splashed across Breitbart. Twisted into grooming scandal rocks tech elite. Protests swelled. Now a hydra. Supporters chanting love is legal. Haters hurling epithets. One bottle clipping my temple as we fled a gala. Blood warm. Vision spotting. In the ER. Stitches pulling like puppet strings. Nathan held my hand. Face a mask of ruin. Resign. I whispered. Morphine blurring edges. Save the company. Save us. No. Iron in his grip. This is the fight. For every kid like us, hiding, hurting. But Dawn brought the knife. His resignation letter, drafted in secret, emailed at 4 a.m. For the greater good, it read, sterile as scalpel. I found it open on his laptop, coffee cold beside it. You lied. The words choked out. Betrayal a fresh wound. Promised together. He looked up, eyes hollowed by surrender. I can't lose you to this. Not to them. Lose me? Fury ignited. Drowning grief. You just did. By quitting on us. I left that morning, bag packed with the blue shirt, heart a lead weight. Sublet in Queens, a sterile walk-up where sirens wailed like mourners. Freelance dried up, blacklisting's shadow loomed. Jenna called, voice thick. He's a ghost, Kel. Wandering the office like Hamlet on Quaaludes. Come back. No, but the pull ached. A phantom limb. Months ground on. Autumn leaves rotting like resolve. Nathan's successor, a bland suit named Harlan, gutted the ethics wing. Our neural net shelved for profit alignment. Headlines faded. Hale steps down amid turmoil. He vanished from feeds. A self-imposed exile. Then, winter's bite. A manila envelope. No return. Inside, the burned remnants of Eliza's photos. Charred edges. His handwriting looping. Fought fire with fire. For you. A plane ticket stub one way to Vancouver. Dated yesterday. And a letter. Pages thumbed soft. Cal, I broke us to save you, but it gutted me worse than any boardroom blade. The empire, dust. Without you, its echoes. I ran again, coward's reflex, but this time, to build something true. Cabin, code for good, no spotlights. If you want the blueprint we dreamed, find me. Or burn this. Either way, I love you. Always will. Nate, tears salted the ink, blurring lines. Burn it, or chase. Humanity whispers in fractures. Forgiveness not absolution. Love not possession. I booked the red eye, the blue shirt folded in my carry-on like a flag of truce. Vancouver's fog swallowed the plane, but as tires kissed tarmac, resolve cleared. He waited at arrivals, bearded now, softer around the edges, eyes lighting like dawn on water. No words first, just collision, arms wrapping tight, the world narrowing to heartbeat sync. You're here, wonder in his whisper. Always was, my lips on his salt and cedar home. But no more running. We build. Together, the cabin was rough-hewn poetry. Pine walls, a wood stove crackling welcome, his laptop humming open source dreams. No towers, no titans, just us, coding futures in flannel and firelight. Scandals scarred, but healed in quiet, hikes through snow-draped evergreens, confessions over stew, nights where bodies and souls mended thread by thread. One evening, stars pricking the ink-black sky, he turned from the window, vulnerable anew. Think we can forgive? The past, the pain. I pulled him down, blankets cocooning. Forgiveness isn't erasure. It's carrying the scars proud. Like badges. He nodded, tracing my tattoos, our initials, faded but fierce. Then let's wear them. For the boys we were. The men we are. We did. No empire, but a legacy quieter, deeper. Open source tools for queer youth coders. A foundation seeded from his severance. My freelance fire. Letters from kids like us, you gave us courage. Stacked on the mantle, humanity's quiet roar. In America's vast, fractured heart, we carved a corner unbowed. Love, controversial and crimson, one not with fanfare, but with the steady burn of two souls, entwined against the storm. Years folded like code compiling, efficient, elegant, edged with the ache of what-ifs. Vancouver thawed into a rhythm. Mornings tangled in quilts. Nathan's stubble rasping my neck as coffee brewed. Afternoons at the communal hackerspace. Our open-source AI democratizing access for marginalized makers, queer coders in the South, trans devs in the Midwest, kids dodging digital divides. No corner offices, but impact rippled. A grant-funded app flagging conversion therapy clinics. Algorithms auditing bias in hiring AIs. Revenge of the nerds, Nathan quipped, but his eyes shone earnest. The mogul's ghost exorcised. Yet scars itched. Holidays triggered ghosts. Thanksgiving emails from Jenna. Now hail Dynamics DI czar under Harlan's limp reign. Laced with updates. Company's soulless without you too. And photos of pride floats we'd inspired. Nathan's family? Radio silence. Save Eliza's one olive branch. A Christmas card. And signed. With a check for the foundation. He burned it, ashes swirling like absolution denied. My own hauntings surfaced in dreams. Georgia heat, his father's snarl, the truck beds creak under frantic youth. I'd wake gasping, Nathan's arms anchoring. Still here, he'd murmur, lips to my temple. Not going anywhere. But doubt's whisper persisted. One spring, a recruiter pinged Google, fat salary, Bay Area beacon. Your neural net creds? Gold. And the scandal? Spun as resilience narrative. I showed Nathan over diner pancakes, syrup sticky as temptation. He stilled, fork midway. Go if you want. I'll follow. Follow, echo of old wounds. Or resent, his hand covered mine, steady. Love isn't ledger. But, do you want this? The grind again. I didn't. The tower's gleam had tarnished. Power's poison lingered. Nah. This is the work. It's enough. It was. Until the call that appended the compile. Summer solstice, longest day bleeding into dusk. My phone buzzed mid-hike, trail dust on boots, Nathan's laugh echoing from a ridge. Caleb Reyes, this is Dr. Ellis, NYU alumni. We're mounting a symposium, Queer Innovators in Tech. Nathan hails your co-panelist. Headline act. Heart stutter. He knows. Insisted. Said it's your story. Together, we debated over trail mix, summit winds whipping words. Exposure, I cautioned. Old vipers wake, or we claim the narrative. His eyes, fierce. No more hiding. NYC welcomed us like prodigal thorns. Subways rumbling under concrete veins, skyline a jagged memory. The symposium packed Lincoln Center's house, suits mingling with activists, cameras flashing like paparazzi flashbacks. Backstage, Nathan paced, "Ty Askew. What if they boo? Call us frauds." I straightened his knot, fingers lingering. Then we own it. Frauds with heartbeats. The stage lights blinded, but the crowd's roar grounded. We spoke in tandem, his polish weaving my raw edges. The betrayal's forge, love's latency, innovation born of ache. Q&A turned title. A teen from Alabama, voice quaver, "You give me hope that I can code my truth." Applause crested, tears pricking. Post panel, a knot of admirers. Jenna, hugging Bone Crush, a venture scout pitching seed rounds. Then, the specter Eliza, prim in pearls, flanked by a nervous husband. Nate, her voice, steel-wrapped silk. "Can we?" He tensed, my hand in his a silent vote. 5 minutes. For old times, they stepped aside, murmurs low. I watched from afar, heart a drum solo. Her gestures, placating, then pleading. His rigid, then softening shoulders dropping, a nod. When he returned, eyes glistened. Forgave her. Not for Dad, for her cage. She's leaving him. Starting over. Humanity's curveball, redemption in relatives. I squeezed his hand. Proud of you. That night, hotel suite overlooking Central Park. Ironic opulence. We celebrated slow. Champagne fizzing like fireworks. Bodies rediscovering in king sheets. To us, he toasted, glass to mine. Uncompiled, unbreakable, but dawn's gray light brought the twist. A knock, urgent, insistent. Security escorting a courier, envelope sealed with Hale Dynamics wax. Inside, Harlan's letterhead, offer to reclaim. Board regrets. Your vision needed. Dual CEO roles, partners in every sense. Nathan's laugh barked, disbelieving. The prodigal sons. Temptation's siren, I echoed, pulse quickening. Empire redux, but evolved ethics enshrined, our foundation folded in. We waited cross-country flight home. Pros in spreadsheets, impact scaled. Cons in whispers, ghosts revived. Vancouver's cabin waited, cozy but cramped for dreams expanding. What if we hybrid, he proposed, over diner pie. Lead from afar. Shape without chains. Or dive in. Rewrite the code. Decision crystallized lakeside. Autumn leaves carpeting like confetti. We go, I said, his head in my lap. But on our terms. Queer forward. No closets. He grinned. Boyish. Deal. Partners. Boardroom and bedroom. The return was triumph tempered. Press conference in the tower's shadow. Hands clasped as flashes popped. Hale Dynamics 2.0, Nathan declared. Built on love. Coded for all. Stock surged. Skeptics silenced. His father, a distant obituary months later, stroke. unrepentant to the end. We mourned not the man, but the boy he'd broken. Years later, keynote at Davos, us, silver-threaded now, flanking a holographic demo, AI bridging divides, voices from global queers amplified. Applause thunders. Backstage, Nathan pulls me close. Worth the scars, every one, kiss ceiling, eternal. In America's mosaic, cracked, radiant, we etched our tile. Not flawless, but fierce. Love, dramatic and debated, proved the ultimate algorithm. Input pain, output grace. And in each other's arms, we ran no more, only forward, entwined.